ESPN's own Mark Spears had some interesting comments about a potential Kevin Durant to Golden State reunion. Are you serious? Is this real? Mark said this: the one team I'm telling you guys is keep an eye on the Golden State Warriors. Golden State, they got the best package for both parties. The Warriors could offer the Brooklyn Nets Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, all-star Andrew Wiggins, and former number 2 pick James Wiseman. What the Nets want is a young all-star and perhaps a future all-star. Those assets are all under 30. They also want picks, maybe the ability to swap picks. But if you can get those 4 players, if I'm the Nets, I'm very happy. And for Kevin Durant, the Warriors are very familiar with him and vice versa. Like, he knows where to live at in San Francisco. He knows how the offense works. He knows how he can win a championship there. Yeah, he and Steve Kerr will probably just figure some things out. But with each passing day that carries on, I've heard the Warriors have interest in terms of a young haul, in terms of people being happy on both sides. To me, the Golden State option is the best. Mark went on to tweet, "It's no surprise to me that the Warriors have interest in Kevin Durant. So does more than half the league. It's Kevin Durant. You better make a call if you're an NBA GM. It's Kevin Durant." Well, Mark, I do know it's Kevin Durant, but I got to be honest with you, Mark. With every day that goes by, I start to question, what does it mean to be Kevin Durant? Does that mean this is a guy that if you trade for him, no matter what you got around him, you got a chance at winning a championship? It can't mean that, because I just watched Kevin Durant with Kyrie Irving, and I know Ben Simmons wasn't playing, and I know James Harden demanded a trade out right by the deadline. But, I mean, even then, you would think a Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving-led team should be able to win a game against the Boston Celtics, at least game 3 in Brooklyn. That didn't happen. They got swept. Giannis didn't have Chris Middleton against the Boston Celtics. He took them as far as you could take them. He took them 7 games. He only had Drew Holiday. Who's better between Drew Holiday and Kyrie? I'm asking you. I'm just asking a question. So what does it mean to be Kevin Durant? I get it, a phenomenal scorer, all-time level talent, top 20 player all time. But I'm still trying to figure out, what do you mean by it's Kevin Durant? I know in theory that sounds great, but in his 34-year-of-age season, I'm still trying to figure out, what does it mean to be Kevin Durant? He's a great scorer, but doesn't really incorporate or attribute to leadership. He can put you over the hump like he did with the Golden State Warriors in the past. But the Warriors seem to be ascending right now. They're fresh off a championship. They didn't get to the NBA Finals and lose. They won the damn thing. Do they really want to go down the Kevin Durant path again? Offensively, you love to have KD, but there was a lot that came with that, including a very weird ending to the Golden State Warriors Kevin Durant era, where he pretty much went mute on the franchise. You had the Draymond calling KD out of his name component of it. Steph Curry really didn't know what the heck was going on, seemingly. Steve Kerr was like, yo, this dude is definitely leaving us. They called the last season weird. Like, yo, there is some truth to the Warriors have the possibility of saying, we don't want to do this with him anymore. We take what Wiggins gives us. He's a better perimeter defender than Kevin Durant is right now. He's not the scorer that KD is, but we don't need the scorer that KD is, because we still got Steph Curry and we got Klay Thompson, who's just still less than a year removed off of his return. Let's see what he gives you next year. Speaking of Klay Thompson, he would be one of the gentlemen that probably would be in favor of a Kevin Durant to Golden State reunion, for this simple fact. If Kevin Durant is on your team, for Klay purposes, it makes him more valuable. It's weird, right? If the Warriors went back and got KD, it would make them a less of a team defensively, which will allow Klay to try to be the defender of old. The way the offense would run, it wouldn't be a Steph Curry-centric offense the way Kevin Durant wanted it to be. At the end, he wanted an ISO-driven offense. And if it's an ISO-driven offense, in theory, you'd think that would open up more shots for Klay versus Steph, a Curry guy who more or less likes a Draymond-centric offense with a lot of movement, him getting the rock in different places on the court, and having the basketball in his hand a decent amount. Not all the time, but a decent amount as well. A Kevin Durant-led offense is an offense where he's going to either drive the basketball to shoot, pull up, or pass it, which a guy like Klay seemingly fat in more with that one. When I'm watching the Golden State Warriors take on the Boston Celtics, they pretty much won the championship in spite of Klay Thompson. If you get rid of Andrew Wiggins, a guy that defends better than Klay, you get rid of Jordan Poole, a guy who scores better than Klay right now, you would open up holes, but you would literally, for Klay Thompson, get rid of potential replacements for him down the line. Kevin Durant doesn't replace Klay Thompson. He's already better than Klay Thompson. But these guys, Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole, they do challenge Klay Thompson and his future with the Golden State Warriors. So for Klay, I'm sure he would love to trade. But if I'm Steph, I like what I just had. I like what we just did. If I'm Draymond, I'm thinking long about it. Because I don't believe you can have Kevin Durant on your team. Actually, a cousin of mine told me this. I don't believe you can have Draymond on your roster or Kevin Durant on your roster without Draymond Green. So if it's Draymond, you might keep him settled with Golden State for another 5 to 8 years if you decide to bring Kevin Durant back. But again, do you want to do this? Steve Kerr has been vocal since Kevin Durant has left about how weird that last season was. Does he really want to do this again, or does he like what he's got in Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole? The Warriors got the package to do it. Like, Mark wasn't wrong about that. The Warriors have one of the best packages out there because they're not going to even be able to pay a lot of these guys. They just had to let Gary Payton II walk. Look at the package that the Warriors got. James Wiseman, though I don't believe in him, I don't believe he's a all-star in this league. He could definitely still average 17 and 10. His 17 and 10 just won't be nowhere near as impactful as a guy like Evan Mobley, 17 and 10. Like, James Wiseman is going to put the ball in the basket whenever he gets healthy, if that does happen. You can give him James Wiseman. Okay, that's a young talent. You can give him Andrew Wiggins. He technically was an all-star last year, fresh off a championship. You can give him, I'm not giving them both, but Jordan Poole or Jonathan Kuminga. That's an interesting trade. And pick swaps, like Mark said. If I'm the Warriors, I'm seeing what the Brooklyn Nets got on the table, and I'm starting my package with, first off, here's Wiseman. I'll even give you Moses Moody, and I'll give you Andrew Wiggins, and see what else I need to do to fill that trade out. But that's the start of the package. And from there, if I have to, I'll give up on Jordan Poole, even though I don't want to. I'm personally doing my best to keep Jonathan Kuminga. I think Kuminga might be an all-star. I'm not so sure if Jordan Poole's going to be an all-star, but he's going to be a great young scorer for sure. The Warriors got a great package, one of the best packages out there, all things considered. They're one of the only teams that can acquire Kevin Durant without hurting their 3 best players in theory. Nobody else can do that, by the way. Nobody else in the league can do that, which is why, like Mark says, if you're the Warriors, you got to entertain it. They're clearly in the good business. It's just, is Kevin Durant good business from what you remember how that situation ended? And if I'm Kevin Durant, do I go back to Golden State? Because if you go back, it is an admission of I failed. I'm the kid that went to college, and my parents told me I wasn't ready, and I failed. You're the guy in a relationship with a great woman. You treat her bad, and you dump her. You go on to the mistress, which in Kevin Durant's situation was Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets. It's good out the gate, but then you realize, oh, man, I had a good woman that I let go. And then you dump your mistress, your new chick, and then try to go walking back to your good woman. Now, if the Golden State Warriors are the good woman in this example, do you take Kevin Durant back? Or do you say, nah, we good. We've moved on. You had a chance, but you failed. Kevin Durant to the Golden State Warriors, I wouldn't bet on it happening, but we can't argue that the Warriors got the best package. They're the only team in the league that could trade for Kevin Durant and not give up their 3 current best players if you still don't believe them to be the nucleus of this dynasty in Steph, Klay, and Draymond.